All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in to the WTCF podcast. It's Charlie here, hanging out in somewhere in space. And want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the intention and then some other interesting things that are kind of a Commissioner Gordon quote from Batman. Even though it sounds a little bit different, but we'll get into it and get moving from there. It is not that some of us have willpower and others don't. Some of us are ready for change and some are not. And I like to add in, not ready yet. So when it comes to willpower, one of the very first things that comes to mind is the Green Lanterns. So like the Stewart, like all these other ones who invoke this idea of having lots and lots of willpower. And a lot of us think that it's just some characteristic that you have or you don't. And it's not necessarily true. It's actually a trait that you can develop over time. And the idea is to find some practice within that. So case in point, I wanted to go ahead and use this platform to speak about something a little bit different and kind of what I'm going to start to work on. So I reckon bulk, where I went from 200 to about 214 pounds. At some point, the number got up to 221. It was a weird day. And now I'm sitting around like 207, 209. So little by little, the numbers are starting to tick back down by being active, as I've always been. And I just want to be able to share a little bit more about developing the willpower within it. So when I get into the spring, I like to start running. So one of the big things that we have coming up is the Mistakes of Glory 5K on March 2nd over at the studio at 7247. So at the We the Collective spot, it starts up at 7 a.m. So if you are interested in running, we do ask a member sign up. But again, if you're not a member and you just want to come run with us, cool, we accept you for that. The idea is to kind of take notice of the things that we made mistakes in and then realize how many good things have come from us making some of these mistakes or learning and growing out of those situations. Started up that process again because that's something that I really want to be better at. And every year it comes back around and I try again. And at first, it's really, really difficult to get started, where running a half a mile is like your lungs are on fire. However, giving yourself a little bit of opportunity and time, you can start to improve on those things. Start ourselves for it is going to go ahead and improve a whole bunch. So if I say that I'm going to go ahead and be a runner, I need to start doing the things that a runner would do. And sometimes it's just as easy as put your shoes on and walk out the door. Could be enough to start you developing willpower and saying, I'm going to do this because I told myself I would, or I'm going to be truthful to myself and make improvement. So again, getting into it, going to gun for at least 10 miles again. So the last few years during the summertime, I'll make it to about 10 miles. And what was kind of nice is that I went for like 3 runs, like 3, 4 days in a row and 11-minute miles. I've never been very quick, but they felt pretty good up until the other day. The last one I ran ended up with a bit of a calf strain and some knee pain that have since gone away. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time at the recovery of making sure that I get good engagement of my calf and my Achilles, making sure I get a good understanding of what my knee is supposed to do, and then train it, continuously work through it to make sure that it's going to go ahead and heal so I can get back to work. So we get that it can be really difficult to willpower to create that change. It's incredibly difficult. So the idea would be to start with a smaller step, just something very, very tiny. And it could just be as simple as I'm going to go run today. It's time to go put my shoes on. Or when it comes to like eating a little bit better, taking a notice of maybe I don't need 5 pieces of pizza. Maybe I can get away with 3. Or recognizing something in yourself where it's like, hey, I can go out and have a drink. Difficult. So when we surround ourselves with people who want to do similar things, we're going to start to behave like that as well. And we can start to train ourselves to become the person that we wish to be. So it's not that some of us have willpower and some of us don't. Some of us are ready to change and some of us aren't. Like one day I had cigarettes. From then, I've had 2 cigarettes in 13 years now. It was gross because I was just like, well, how bad is it? It's terrible. I didn't like it. So again, I don't have that problem anymore. I know for 100 days I quit drinking and I was doing really fine. And then I made some mistakes and now it's becoming a bit difficult to start that process over. Maybe I don't need to do those things. Maybe I can treat myself a little bit better. Maybe I do need to go to bed a little bit earlier so I can wake up. Again, I'm up at 4 a.m. most days anyway. So how much can I really go party? I'm damn near 40 years old. I can't stay out till 4 in the morning. I wake up at 4. And that took time. Continue to do that on a regular basis until I can. And then when I can't, I'll recognize a proper change for myself and what I want to go ahead and do and begin that process. And it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay to fail and have these moments of relapse. What have I learned from that process? So again, just like in the mistakes of glory, what have I learned from the mistakes that I've made to hopefully make me a better person? And that's all I really got to share for today. So today, I'm just going to go ahead and do some extra recovery work. Friday, I'm going to go ahead and get a bunch of other work done. Saturday, right back on that afternoon. All right. I don't need to necessarily run a marathon to be a runner. I can just go for 2 or 3 miles, or I can just go for a walk. My knee's still bugging me. I can go for a walk for a little bit, just cruising around, stop at a place, see what's going on and learn a little bit and see if I can get something from my mistakes to help me out even more. And then